Did he hit the live button minutes ago? Just tense as fuck.
You're just worried now that we're already streaming.
No, we are live now. I think we are live. Are we live now?
Are we live?
All right.
I think we're live. Yep. And we've got all 5 of us.
Excellent.
Yay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Funny coincidence is that today is actually the 1-year anniversary for our panel. So exactly 1 year ago, we had our debut panel at Eurostar Testing Voices. Afterwards, we decided to make it a regular thing because we had an absolute blast. So let's start with a round of introductions. So Shay, why don't you start us off?
Hey, I'm Shay. I work for Prima Assicurazioni or Prima Insurance as the senior quality engineer. I think that's what we're meant to say, isn't it? Yeah, something like that. Cool.
Excellent. Veerle?
My name is Veerle Verhagen. I'm a tester from the Netherlands, and up until today, I was a tester for Riskit, but today is actually my last day. And after this, I'm taking a big fat 1-month holiday, and after that, I will be a software tester for Dutch Railways, which I'm actually a huge fan of, so I'm very excited about this. 1st of August, that's me starting.
We like trains. We like the trains.
We like trains.
I like trains. I like railways. I like them all. I like the ticket people.
Those are good conductors, Veerle, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, but I find that a really weird word for people who scan your ticket. So I'm like, I'm not calling them that.
Oh, all right. Good start. Like I said, we'll talk.
Right. Sanne, you're next.
Oh, I'm Sanne Visser. I work for a very large corporation, Capgemini. I am also based in the Netherlands, where I am part of the Agile and DevOps testing department, and currently working as a test manager for a very large supermarket.
Excellent. And Chris?
I am Chris Armstrong, and I work for a company called Provar, who do test automation services in the Salesforce world. And I currently have the words quality and strategy in my job title.
Excellent. And I'm Hanna Schlander, and I work as a quality catalyst at Devoteam Creative Tech in Sweden.
Still the flippin' best job title we have in this group.
I do love my title. It rolls off the tongue a lot easier than Devoteam Creative Tech, that's for sure, because that's a bit too long.
You know what I'm like about job titles, right? And at Dutch Railways, I'm actually going to be a quality engineer.
Oh,
which I'm not gonna have an opinion about because I'm really excited to be going to work there. But I just realized that I said I'm going to be a software tester there, which is now technically incorrect.
You'll be a quality engineer.
I will be a quality engineer.
Right, we're not going there. Let's start with
no. Let's go elsewhere.
Yeah. Let's start ranting. We've got the theme of pet peeves today. So does anyone have a good pet peeves to start us off?
I think we should talk about Chris's t-shirt, like right off the bat. That just cannot be ignored. Show us all. There we go.
I survived another meeting that should have been an email. I actually disagree with that. It should be I survived another meeting that could have been done in a Slack channel.
Oh yeah.
Get rid of emails, dude. Yeah, we don't need it.
Other messaging services are available, friends. But my point is there's an awful lot of email threads that are actually useful. But let's face it, I've been in a bunch of meetings and people have been there, camera off, probably muted, probably not really paying attention to the meeting. It's been quite a bit of a broadcast. And the worst meetings I've had is when I've got to the end of them and someone said, "This was really good. Let's do this again next week." It's been really
you sort of die inside, like, no, I don't want to do this again.
Kill me.
How is that productive? How is that enjoyable? Did anyone learn anything?
Has anyone ever just said that, like, let's not, and just said that thought that goes through your head out loud?
Oh man.
No, because if you're in a big meeting like that, you're probably muted doing something else.
Yeah.
Actually doing work, Hannah, is that what you're saying?
Maybe.
But then why do people set up those meetings if they know that everyone else is going to work through them? Like, what kind of engagement are you expecting with that type of session? We're all distracted little ducklings. So we're going to be going off as soon as you start talking about something longer than 2 minutes. Why do you keep doing it to us?
Yeah, is any meeting with more than like 15 people ever productive? Because I mean, it's just information pretty much.
I'm not sure I've ever been in a meeting with more than 15 people.
No? Oh my
Oh,
God.
you're missing out, Fiona. Come on.
Yeah.
But is this
Like-
a thing? Because at that point, isn't it like a fucking town hall or something, or a
Well,
I don't know, a
talking
conference
about
talk?
that, there's another pet peeve, like war rooms, town halls. Can we just call it's just, I don't know, meetings even become a loaded term, like your t-shirt obviously shows. Even meeting is now a negative word, but can we stop naming these things freaking, I don't know, tribal collectives?
There is an alternative take on this though, and I don't know if anyone's ever seen the Skeletor meme where Skeletor drops some truth and then runs off. And there's one that says
on
I understand the point where meetings can be a waste of time, but sometimes like actually it would be quicker for you to meet for 5 minutes.
But then isn't it a phone call?
Well, this is the thing. What's the meeting and what's the session, right?
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Fair.
But then again, it doesn't need to be an
time.
hour long as well. How many times do people schedule an hour-long meeting when all they really wanted is like 5 minutes of airtime?
Okay,
if they do it, you like, just dudes, everybody jump up. Here we go. 5 minutes.
No, right.
This is really cool. Anybody object? Okay, let's go.
I've started being a meeting hipster because I once listened to a podcast about how people choose the default length that I set in Outlook for meetings. So it's usually like a multiple of 15 minutes. And they're like, usually the things that you want to do don't take a multiple of 15 minutes. So I've started setting like super stupid times. Like, let's have a 25-minute meeting starting at 2. Or like sometimes I'll just be like, let's have a 40-minute meeting starting at 10 past 2. And then it ends at like, I think it's better because even usually that will be the amount of time that you more or less need, because you know that you fill the amount of time that you set for any given task. So usually if you shorten it a little bit, the meeting will be over quicker. Plus, if you schedule it for like 25 minutes starting on the hour, then people have like a little 5-minute break before their inevitable
Are people giving you back your time as well?
Oh, you got it.
Their time, I'm just not taking it in the first place.
Time God.
But also on your point though about meetings, like scheduling them is fine, but how about tell me what the hell the meeting's about?
Yeah,
what we're going to talk about, because having unstructured ones that aren't a lean coffee actually suck.
No.
Oh my God!
Can't have meetings with agendas. That would leave us nothing to complain about.
Can I do a little promo?
Yeah.
If you ever have the chance, take the workshop on how to make team meetings suck less by Samuel Nietzsche and Lena Pagan, because it is so good. It is so good. And they deal with this little bit where they go like, if you don't have an agenda in the meeting, like what on earth are you even doing there? And they propose putting the agenda in the invitation as well. And then not just the agenda, but also like the goal and the expected outcome, which is not always the same, which I loved. It's really good.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
If you ever have the chance to take that workshop, do it. It's really good.
Well, the scary thing as a consultant for me would be like, if we get that efficient, do I even still have a job?
That is a good point.
Like, seriously, it sometimes does feel like half of the things that I do when I enter a new assignment is just getting people on track with this basic stuff. Do we have an agenda? Do we know what we're covering? What are our priorities? Also, expected outcomes is a brilliant addition to that, by the way. I'm going to totally steal that. But it just feels like that's half of what I do, especially at the beginning. It's like, this is so basic. How can we screw this up so much? I know how.
Yeah, I mean, meetings do have their time and place. I mean, I had a really good meeting today that would have been emails back and forth for God knows how long. But I mean, let's face it, most meetings are not like that. It's like,
and I canceled 2 today. One because there was nothing on the agenda. So that was a good cancellation. And I canceled one because honestly, only 25% of the people could make it. And I don't care. That's not enough.
You're such a time god.
I just give time
I
to
give
everyone.
time. Yeah, that's it.
You know
Spirit
what?
back
Like,
into the universe.
I'm looking forward to the point where we stop using time god ironically and we're actually going to start using it, because I think we're heading there with terrifying speed.
Oh man. Now you see that some meetings are useful. I think one of my rules that I've had for the past, I don't know, 15 years of my career is if your email goes back and forth 3 times, call a meeting, call them up.
Yeah.
Because there's a disconnect there, or there's more that needs to be said than can be easily put into an email. So have a short meeting, but keep it damn short. Come on,
Yeah.
You're writing
Also,
an email that'll take you 10 minutes. Make a 10-minute meeting. You'll get twice as much done. Boom.
There's a lovely setting on the Outlook web version, in case you happen to be logged into that office where you're working, where you can by default trim meetings by a percentage. So I think I have mine set on, like you said, Veer, there's something random, like 13%. So all meetings are trimmed by 13% by default. And that's an interesting effect. You get these really random meeting times, because I'm already looking for, well, is it 20? Is it 25? And then it even reduces that. So it's lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good point, isn't it?
Are we ready for the next topic, you think?
I'm constantly distracted because the chat is absolutely
mate.
wild today.
Yes.
This is great, everyone.
I'm trying to say hi to everyone. I'm trying to read everybody's pet peeves. I'm trying to read everyone's opinion on pointless meetings. This is insane.
I really appreciate Deborah's comment about neurodiverse people struggling without knowing the context and being able to plan, assuming the worst of meetings. And that's a really, really good one for leaders to think of, is like, I think we've talked about it before a bit about sort of being aware of the types of people who are coming to your meeting. It's not necessarily the same kind of person as you. There are introverts, there are neurodiverse people, and various other walks of life. So yeah, having an agenda can really, really help everybody understand what's going on. And
but now you're suggesting that we need to take the time to actually get to know the people that we're working with, and not just like slaves. I tell you to do this and you just do that. Shay, what's this? What is this knowing people thing?
No, but Chris, you've talked about
sorry,
this.
touchy-feely.
I think we need to bring it back, because you mentioned frequently the sheer panic of somebody, like not even skip level bosses, but skip level bosses jumping in and planning a meeting with you and then not saying anything about the content of that meeting.
Oh.
Time for a call. Hello, CEO.
Yes. Why?
Yes.
Could you maybe add a few details beyond "I need to talk to you now"?
Here, so I'm just wondering, what if they were actually going to fire you? Would you like that to be the topic of the meeting? Like, you're getting fired?
No,
that's an
me.
interesting one.
Or
well, then I could decline it.
No, won't be able to make it today either. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
Definitely.
I got 6 months extra in that job. I'm a boss.
And they kept adding the agenda, fire Shay, and I kept avoiding it.
I think I mentioned to my boss once about sort of like him going, "Hey, got time for a call," and how it's like makes me a little bit jumpy. And now he'll go, "Time for a call. Good news, not bad news. Don't worry," or something like that in Slack. So yeah.
Which still is not an agenda. That just says, well, you're not worried about it. I might still be.
yeah.
Very true.
Like, good news, we're sending you on a month-long trip to some back of the beyond office location. Like, good news for me, the CEO, but for you, maybe you're like, oh well.
I have one more thing about meetings, though. Long meetings where you don't have breaks.
Yeah.
I mean, 2-hour meetings, or like we used to have in my project, we don't anymore, thank God, but we used to have 3-hour sprint planning sessions without a break. Yes.
Should absolutely be criminalized.
I know. And honestly, the only thing that I think really works with those people is to sort of, even if you can't really tell them, can you? Because they want to carry on. And they'll even say things like, no, but we'll lose momentum if we plan a break.
Yeah. I mean, at one point we started adding candy to the sprint planning sessions, but I mean, breaks are still better.
Yeah. I think the only way to break through that one is to just stand up and say, guys, I gotta go take a shit. Like, that's just the level of bluntness.
And then enforce a half-hour break on everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Only half an
Everybody
hour.
looks at you like, is that how long it takes? Like, what doesn't it for you?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
there's finding it, and there's need to find the right book.
Actually, right. I actually, oh, this is a terrifying thing to say when we've just talked about having half-hour-long shits. But at one of my previous employers, we used to have it was like partly based in what was a sort of factory. So some people needed to change into like proper factory clothing. So the ladies' toilet also had like the ladies' locker room in it with like little benches that you could sit on. So sometimes if I was fed up, I would just sort of like hang out there because like nobody would come in anyway to see like, oh, what is Beer up to? I was like, they're all assuming that I'm either on my period or having a shit, but I don't care. I'm just sitting there checking my social media, just reading the news, just like taking a break for me. And then once one of my female colleagues walked in and I felt really like caught. So I told her like, I'm just having a little bit of me time. She's like, oh, I do that all the time here.
Yeah. Yay. See, it's not that odd. But I think that's the other thing. You know how they are sort of adding prayer rooms or meditation rooms to a lot of offices, trying to make them more comfortable. But you know, you never feel quite right going into those break spaces if nobody else freaking ever does it. Like the thing that you mentioned when she's like, oh, I do this all the time, that takes such a load off. It's like, yeah, we need breaks sometimes, people, especially in these fucking open space plans where you're constantly in everybody's vision. It gets very tiring.
Oh man, have we just seen somebody said about icebreakers at the start of a meeting as well? That's a way to be awkward.
It depends on the context, though, right? Like sometimes that is useful, but other times cringe, like with your family on Zoom in lockdown.
Why do you need icebreakers with
Yeah,
your family,
exactly.
Chris?
Right? It's because they don't know how to use Zoom. They're like, let's just do an icebreaker. Hey.
Oh,
What
dear,
are we talking about here? What kind of icebreakers? Because I think I might have missed this annoyance.
I mean,
oh man, so some of them are just proper awkward, but they do they can put people in a state of like utter fear as well. I think is you know that all right, so let's go around the room and tell us the name of your first 3 teddy bears while standing on one leg.
Oh, things like 2 truths and a lie and that kind of
Yeah.
because then we
That
all
really
become friends and we
happens.
get to know each other and we're so comfortable together now.
Yes, we're
I've
not
never
awkwardly
had that.
trying to remember teddy bear names. Like that's not awkward.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I had monkeys. I never had teddies. So
There we go. Icebreaker done.
yeah, there we go.
Nice.
Should we move on from meetings?
Yeah.
All right.
We do have. Let's go over. I think we had. Do we have something around conferences that we wanted to rant about? I think.
Oh God, the question that isn't a question. Story time. So I've been to a couple of conferences recently this month, 3. And the worst thing there's 2 things that annoy me, but I'll start with the worst one, where after your talk and everybody's applauded and you've got that lovely high, and then somebody's like, well, here's just one thing. They raise their hand and then they go off on this rant on what was honestly this teeny tiny part of your presentation. Tends to be something theoretical, something from some book, something that maybe you possibly quite misquoted while you were paraphrasing something on stage with all the panic that involves. And then instead of having a question, and that's all I wanted to say about that. Just wanted to add that to your presentation.
Not so much a question, more of a comment. Shut up now. Shut your gob.
And it's so blatantly like, I am important and I have to have the stage now. It's nothing contributive. It doesn't add any value. Like nobody else in the audience was sitting there wondering, well, yes, I did actually wonder in which year that specific graph was published. I really was curious.
It happens though, doesn't it? Where people like to throw like this tiny little piece of your thing, which definitely had nothing to do with the actual kind of talk. You were wrong on that one word, that little word there.
Yeah,
that was wrong. You did that wrong. That's wrong. I just want to point that out. I fixated on that through the whole session, just to let you know.
Yeah, and I'm just going to completely ignore that the compere said, please can you only ask questions. We don't really care for the comments thing. And the first person who stands up goes, well, does the
they had
It's
questions
kind of
coming
a
in through the
question,
app.
but not
Through
really.
the app, which was annoying anyway. So all the questions were coming in through the app, so people could pretty anonymously plug them in, as well as the comments. So that was part of the problem. And I was distracted enough that I didn't get the moderator to say, no, just shout your questions, don't put them in through the app. But then she read that comment out loud to me, and I was very proud of my response. I said, well, that's a comment, not a question. And then just shut up and didn't respond to it, which was a very strong response.
Yes.
And then the dude, because of course it had to be a dude, from the back of the hall shouts, well, do you want to add anything to that comment? At which point I said, no. And turned around.
You handled it very, very well. It was
you
I love
crushed it. I mean, I was on the front row. I was like,
the story's not done yet. Guess what I got back last week? The feedback from the session.
No.
And guess what? The same comment got put in as a feedback point. Well, I did really have a point to make, and you wouldn't address it in the comments and the feedback.
Submit your own abstract, you twat. Oh my God.
Thank you for that.
Absolutely. Oh man, I
Yeah.
hope that person watches us and sort of gets the idea. Listen,
No, because he
it's
would have been in the
really
comments. He
not
would have been in
needed.
the chat.
We would have already heard from him by now. I mean, he would know who he is.
well, I did actually have a comment.
Oh,
Yes, could we
Lord,
address
yeah.
that now, please? I'm just going to crash in on 9 out of 10 testers so I can get Sana's proper comment on that, please.
Right. And, that's not to say that there are not comments that can be additions, but then the people that know this will very explicitly say, I love what you did there. This stuff also contributes to your point. That's a comment that is very much additional. You want to let the audience know this type of work has been continued, or there's more to read about it, or you love something that's slightly off that edge of something the speaker said. That's the only acceptable comment that is not a question. And even that, I think, is dicey. Like, just ask a question. Do you know the works of so-and-so would be even more open, to which the speaker can say yes, and that's a lovely addition, and also show that they also know, instead of trying to detract from the expertise of a speaker. Yeah. That was an experience.
Oh, mate. Yeah, I loved your comeback to them. Nope. I was thinking while you're saying that, I've been to a couple of conferences, not standing on the stage though, like other people in this thing. But when I watched Tim Berners-Lee, Sir Tim Berners-Lee, one of my absolute heroes, an inventor of the internet and things like that, give a talk. And at the end, the compere said, listen, we've only got 5 minutes, so keep your questions short, please. And the first guy who stood up, his question took 2 freaking minutes to say. At the end of it, I had no idea what the hell he was asking. I wanted to kill him. I think everybody else in the audience wanted to kill him. And it was a stupid freaking question anyway. When the compere says, we've got 5 minutes, keep it short. Dude, if you can't keep it short, write him an email or something.
I know,
but
go find the
hell
speaker
up
afterwards. So that brings me to the second sort of annoyance, but I think it's very cultural, so I don't want to be too harsh on this one, but it's the question askers that start with, first of all, I'd like to thank you for a very great presentation. Like, again, this short bit is still within reason for me, but when it becomes, thank you for this presentation, I really appreciate you being here today in this lovely building on this beautiful day that we're having, with all this time that you spent preparing, I'm so grateful. By then I'm like, I just want to kill you now. Just ask the freaking question.
It's the Eurovision points bit again. Where they just... it's possible.
I can't believe you managed to fucking slide in.
And I'm just going to cross that off on now 9 out of 10 testers bingo. Chris mentioned Eurovision.
Yes, well done, Chris.
I'm always here.
But it is. What were you saying?
Yeah.
Like the last Eurovision, what was it? Somebody announced their pregnancy.
Yes, the Swedish presenter
Oh, man.
actually announced their pregnancy. On
How relevant
Eurovision.
was that?
There's only been
very.
one time where the time it's drawn on and it's been acceptable, and that was when they had the Icelandic guy from the movie who just kept on asking for Yaya Ding Dong. That's the only time it's ever been acceptable for someone to go on for too long in that particular section. Everyone else just wants the points and move on.
Right, fair enough. Yeah, so that, as far as like asking questions after presentation goes, that's pretty much up there. Oh, I have a last one, if I may.
Yes.
But this is more of a call to action to everyone listening. At the end of presentations, we speakers, we put up our contact information, like specifically asking people to reach out. And I felt so saddened. There was a keynote at Expo QA. He put up all his contact information and he said, I can very safely do this to this audience of 400 people because not a single one of you is going to email me. And that really crushed me. Like, it's not so much an annoyance as a sadness. Like, we love engagement. Like, we really, really do. That's why we freaking tell you our email, our Twitter, our anything you can pretty much get to get a hold of us. Like, we love having these chats, especially about the topics that we love. Start using those. Like, we share them at the end for that specific purpose. So if there is 5 minutes for questions and you don't get a chance, look us up. Come find us. Like, we love you. We do this for you.
Or if you're terrified of like being handed a microphone and having to ask your question in front of an audience of I don't know how many people.
Yes, that's a good point, Fearla. Yeah.
I do like it. Like the sort of the Ministry of Testing putting during conferences, putting a channel up on the club or something and posting all the other questions in there and enabling the speaker or speakers to interact with people afterwards. I think that's a really cool thing as well. Is, you know, it gives them a forum. And yeah, again, if you didn't want to ask or were afraid to ask at that time, you can ask you know, by text in the club.
Works very well at the online test conf as well. There's a couple that do that really nicely where you have this long ongoing conversation after the presentation. And it's delightful, to be honest. But again, not an annoyance, more of a request.
Yes, please talk to us. We love it.
Please talk to us.
We'll be putting our contact details in.
Please, we don't have any friends.
Wait, are we not friends?
I suppose we are. I'm sorry.
Well, we've been friends for a year.
Exactly 1 year and never before. But on the feedback thing, it goes beyond just a conference though, right? Like there's publishing blogs and doing stuff publicly like we're doing right now. Feedback is useful always, and I think we all want that sort of thing. But there's a way of giving feedback more positively, constructively. If you got something you don't agree with, I'm cool with that. But do it respectfully. For the love of God, do it respectfully. Like, it doesn't help anybody if you just come out and say you're wrong, you're stupid, you're whatever.
Yeah.
It's crushing. We're not here to try and put people down if we want to chat about stuff. Constructive feedback's awesome.
The five of us disagree on plenty of things, but we've always been able to.
No, we don't.
I got
into Right. Okay. Moving on.
Yeah, you walked into that one. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, feedback should be in a good way, because honestly, when you give feedback and just write, yeah, that was really bad, it doesn't really help us more than like, yeah, we actually put ourselves out there and you pretty much just slapped us in the face. Speaking from experience, those are not nice to get after a conference.
Yeah.
At least if you have some like, what would have made it better, please let us know, because obviously we want to do things better, but you're saying, no, that was really bad, I didn't done anything.
But don't tell us how good we looked. Like, for fuck's sake, don't let us come off stage and say, oh, you look so pretty. Like, seriously.
I've never had that.
I was going to say, everyone, if I ever give a talk and you want to tell me how pretty I look, that's okay with me. Okay?
God. I've had
that's not relevant, is it though? It's really not relevant.
No. And then they get pissed off when I don't thank them for the compliment. It's like, I told you something nice. Don't you want to say thank you? Like, no, I don't, because that's really not what I was doing on that stage.
So it was a vanity statement by that person in the first place.
Oh God.
Get lost.
Yeah, but it's unfortunately it has happened to me frequently enough that it's a pattern. And I'm very grateful none of you have had that issue, but it is still a thing.
It's because we're fucking hideous.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to say anything to you.
But all right,
we can't all be this fabulous.
I'm gonna get told off so badly, because I realized a wee bit ago I called someone a word, and Christopher Nordstrom told me off and said language please, and now I've dropped the F-bomb I don't know how many times in between. I'm sorry, Christopher. I apologize.
But I don't when I set up this thing on YouTube, I don't mark it for kids, so who the fuck cares?
No, that is true.
Yeah.
But there may or may not be a conference that I might like to speak at with you, 9 out of 10 testers, at some point in the future. So yeah, I might need to.
Well, let's just announce
I might need to
we are
take some
very
feedback to heart.
We are very capable of not swearing, just not on this
bloody
show.
okay.
Not by ranting.
Yeah, I love it.
End of that one.
Should we move on to a bit of etiquette? We did actually get one pet peeve from one of our listeners that we're gonna bring in.
Let's do that one.
So
Okay.
I'm mentioning this because it's not giving credit where credit is due. So how bad would it be if I did not give credit to our listener for that one?
Oh
Yes.
yes.
So mention their name, or did
I think
they
she asked you not to, right?
She asked me not to, but I'm saying we got it from a listener.
Okay, from a listener. Perfect. We have
yeah.
listeners, guys. We have listeners.
We have listeners.
I know.
People who feedback and say we like you, we like what you're doing, and that's really cool. That's so awesome.
I love you.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know who you are, and I do
too. To our listeners, to the people who join us every month. It's awesome. No, absolutely right. Credit where credit is due. When you're sort of in a meeting and you said something to somebody, and they're conducting the meeting, they transmit that information as if it's their own, and you're like, dude, that was me. I had that idea, and everybody afterwards is like, yeah, mate, you did it. Brilliant idea you had there. Why not just go, hey, look, it was Shay.
What do you feel about like the very distracted, forgetful me that's then like, I know I didn't come up with this, and I'll say something like, I'm not really sure who said this earlier, but here's this thing again.
That's still not taking the credit for you. That's
Is
still
that fine?
Acknowledging that. Yeah, I think so.
Because I always feel like such a ninny because I can't remember who said it, but like I can forget like 5 minutes earlier.
But then the person who came up with it can eventually still get credit for it when they see that something is being implemented or whatever, or maybe someone would ask and they can be like, oh, that was me. I came up with that. Like it doesn't close the door for them to get credit for this because you already took it.
So like, I don't know where I heard this, but here's the thing, is okay?
Yeah, I reckon.
Or do you still have to do some due diligence and try and figure out where you heard it? Or is it enough? Like at which point do you kind of buckle down and say, okay, now I'm really going to look up who said this and maybe I'll be able to find it? Because I do bookmark things like crazy, but there's like 10,000 bookmarks in there. I mean, I'd have to really dig.
I mean, at least trying, because if it's this kind of person that always takes credit for other people's work, I mean, let's face it, there's plenty of people like that will just be like, oh yeah, this great idea I've got. And
like, I know I'm fundamentally loud, so I'm fundamentally the person that is going to be the one talking about it, even if somebody else wrote about it or had.
I just realized you're talking more about ideas that you get from maybe like blogs or talks or whatever. I was actually thinking more about operating within a team. Or within a company, and you thinking of something or a cool solution or something that you could do as a team, and then somebody else taking credit for that, which kind of makes my statement earlier maybe a little bit less applicable.
Which one?
When I said like, as long as you are not, it was 30 seconds ago, but what else? As long as you are not taking the credit for you, that leaves the door open for somebody else.
Yeah.
To get it in, to get it later.
And I'm always ridiculously grateful when somebody speaks up and says that was this thing, and I'm like, oh yes, thank you.
Yeah, that's cool. Or in a meeting, if it was that person, and they go, hey, it was me that told you that. It's like, dude, awesome, thanks.
Here, so I've got a question.
I'm doing the fingers too much today. Sorry.
Don't worry about the fingers. You can do that. You can be a cowboy.
I'm dad dancing.
Right. Okay. So a question for Ollie is, I have this weird paranoia, or maybe it is a very realistic and rational fear. I don't know. I would like to know. You know how on certain Slack communities, you will have channels for like speaking ideas or like call for paper ideas. And I'm always kind of terrified sharing ideas there because I'm like, well, what if somebody else reads and thinks like, oh, that's a really cool idea. I know how to make that work. And I'm still struggling to make it work. And they get there before me. Like, do you share your ideas on there? Because I'm always terrified to, but maybe I'm too like too paranoid about it.
That would be a completely bastard thing to do.
Yeah.
If you that is like one of the lowest of the low. If they've got an idea of making it work, like if tables were turned and I looked at that and went, I know how to make that work. Hey Vila, here's an idea of how it might work, and you can, and then it gives you go, I can see how that would work. It's not how I would like to take it. Then that opens a forum for me to say, with respect, may I try and make a talk from it? And you can go, no, it's still my idea. Bugger off, and then that's okay. Case closed. Or you go, hey, run with it. Go for it, mate.
Or do it together. I mean, it could be that you have different points of view, and it could make a great thing to do together as well. But I think I'm the same as you, Bill. I'm a little bit skeptical on sharing it too widely if I have an idea.
There's two sides of it. Like which groups that matters.
I suppose it does. Like really when a community is quite big, I can see the risk increasing, because in like bigger communities, I don't know everyone. So unlike the Ministry of Testing community or the women in testing, like I don't know everybody there. So I would be a bit more worried about it, because I'm like, anyone could run with that idea. Whereas in like smaller communities, I wouldn't be so worried about it, I guess.
I think also your worry is slightly invalid, because for Christ's sake, you have a presentation on asking for help better, which is as generic as it fucking gets. But nobody's thinking in your presentation or while listening to you like, oh God, this is something I could do, because that is so very genuinely you giving that talk. There's nobody that could do it that way, but that topic is covered by God knows how many people and in all those communities. True. And I don't think you've ever been worried about that one being copied or...
And the thing is, like, it's not like my thoughts are so flippin' unique and amazing. Like, a lot of people can come up with the same idea without me prompting them. Right. So in a way, it is pure arrogance, this.
But, and here's the thing, the group trust thing is important, but also I have a genuine concern sometimes with people giving things away too easily. And it might be my role as a consultant as well, where I do actually charge people for ideas. But sometimes we give away a bit too much. Like you can brainstorm, you can share, you can definitely put things out there. But if you've got something that is just a fucking brilliant solution to a problem we're all having, and it potentially could make you some money, please be careful.
Right.
That's different. And specifically, I'm thinking workshops or some money-making things. Like speaking doesn't make any of us any money, let's be honest. But be careful with those, because you don't want to share those in all these public, or maybe you do, but then make a conscious decision. Does that make sense? Felt like I went on a bit of a rant there.
Isn't that
if only we had a forum to do that in.
We're definitely in a place to rant here.
Oh yeah. I think choose your communities wisely. I mean, we're all on various Slack groups and things, and I know there's a couple of safe spaces where I'd be able to go, I've had this idea, anybody think it's a good idea for such and such a conference? But beyond that, it's like, there's other forums I'm on where not a chance I'd be doing a shout out on that. Not without a fully formed idea, or a more fully formed idea that I can prove that was mine first. And if somebody was a conference bastard and nicked it, then I could have it done.
Very true. I think we could do another one on etiquette as well. I mean, because now obviously credit where credit's due is important, but also how about people explaining instead of answering the actual question? So like getting mansplained pretty much, or just a long explanation where you're not asking for it. I mean, come on, don't do that. It's really not what we want.
Well, I think what you really are trying to say there is...
Can somebody mute Shay?
My Zoom, my mute.
Oh, you're in control of this meeting, shit.
Yeah.
Christ, no. The thing is, I don't even notice when it's happening some of the time. And sort of halfway through, I'm thinking, why is he explaining this to me? Is this for somebody else? And I really literally just look around the room. It's like, who is this for? At which point I realized, oh, shit.
Must be for me then.
Must be for me then. Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Also, the other side of that is the very condescending, wow, you're understanding this quickly.
Oh,
Really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. 2 weeks into my new assignment here, that's been said multiple times. Like, I like that you already get this. Like, that's literally my job. I'm onboarding. I'm supposed to try and get this.
Maybe
You
you
don't
hold
need to
your
be
application in
impressed.
a bit too high regard as well.
That's the other thing.
I'm going to hold my hands up here and say I've caught myself doing an explaining thing and just step back and gone, fuck, sorry, you probably know about this already. I'm happy to chat further with you. And yeah, I mean, yeah, hold my hands up. I'm a bit of, yeah, I've done that.
There's also
Sorry.
examples, aren't there, where there's examples where people listen to you talk about something and they immediately make it about themselves.
Right,
And I've just,
in
done
that
there.
situation where sorry.
It's like, I know what you're like, because you know that time when you encountered some bullying. Well, actually, that happened to me once, and it's like, no, it's like,
let me have my space, please.
no, that's not what this conversation's about.
Yeah, just wanted some empathy.
Yeah, I think in some cases, some like people are just desperate to sort of show that they can relate. So to show that they understand in whatever misguided way it is that they're doing it. So I guess in some cases it's not even bad intentions, but it is annoying.
And like I said, I don't even notice a lot of the time until like pretty much when they're done explaining. So it's maybe bad to say, but maybe it's so common that it's not even really noticeable anymore.
Yeah.
It sounds so sad. Like I've gotten used to it. But
yeah, but it's just so often as well, and you see it also like when people post questions in different forums as well, we get a long explanation of something that's really not at all what you're asking about.
Yeah,
it's just like, yeah, I know this, so I'm gonna put that in, and you're like, not relevant.
Yeah, but I think in those cases people just don't really know that like the answer to the actual question, so they just sort of like waffle their way out of it.
Yeah, that happens too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But if you're talking about forums, then there's a rant there of people who come onto forums, and Stack Overflow is famous for this of like somebody comes on genuinely with a question and goes, hey, I have a question here that's well thought out, and somebody will just go, oh, that's been answered before.
And then don't link to anything or help out. Just
I'm coming here and I'm opening myself up for this. I need help, and all you're doing is going, find it elsewhere, dude.
Yeah, okay. I thought you were going to rant about something that has happened to me before on those kinds of forums, where you ask a question and you say like, hey, so this is the setup, this is what I've got.
Oh yeah.
This is what I can't work out, and they just go all in and go like, well, you shouldn't have voted like that in the first place. Here's what you need to do. You need to rebuild your whole thing. And I'm like, no, tell me how to fix it the way it is now, or don't tell me anything at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to go and rebuild my whole damn machine unless there's a really, really good reason, and give me the reasoning. But no.
But to be honest, pretty much all of us do that. And I think most of us are in Scrum practices. And I think pretty much everybody does that. Oh, we're Agile. We're not, we do Scrum, but not quite the way it's supposed to be. Like that whole thing, like throw it out and start again is so common. And people get so frustrated with the way that they're doing it. And there's all kinds of reasons to be upset with the way Agile Scrum is implemented, but to be like, it's not according to the theory and it's not according to how it's done in the book, and you should just scrap everything and start again, is really not useful and giving, I think, a whole lot of testers a whole bunch of stress. Because to be honest, has anyone ever been in a Scrum team that has followed it exactly and done all the things well?
Nope.
Anyone?
Oh, until you said the word well, I was going to say yes.
And all the things. Yeah.
Oh,
but hang on, the thing is, Scrum and all that, it's a theory. Anybody who walks in with the book and goes, step one, people, you've got it wrong from step one, my friend, get out. It's a team thing. All of this Agile and stuff came about for making teams function better collectively. It's about collective ideas. The way you do your team does it is okay. And I've been, I used to be a consultant as well, and I'd go into a team and go, the way you're doing it, it's absolutely fine if it works for you. I'm not going to give you any rules or anything, but if you want to try and course correct anything here, we can try that. We can try.
We can talk
different.
about it. But I think there's this, and that might be a generational thing as well. Yes, we're getting old, but the levels of perfectionism that the younger colleagues of mine have are so incredibly high. And the very first thing we do is we train them with this master class of testing, and we ram these things down their throats. Like, this is the way it's supposed to be. Like, how dare you build it not according, like you said, Veerle, not according to this architecture. You've totally fucked things up. You are screwed. And this is the first thing we teach them. We teach them the ideal, optimal level of doing things. And then we get them to work and they're like, oh crap, nothing works this way. And we know this.
Can I go a wee shout out to I think it was Tristan, giving credit where credit is due. I think it was Tristan Lombard who recently tweeted, perfection is just fade in fancy footwear. And I love it.
So true. So true.
What's wrong with just good? Like, good is fine. Good is better than most of the shit shows we work in.
Did you give a talk on this recently, Sana?
This is a theme in my life, right? But again, I'm entering a new situation with new people and new teams, and there's so much freaking panic. Not all of it's undeserved, but the mental anguish it's causing me is what's scaring me about this part of things. Like, can we please stop adding a mental load on top of what is already quite a complicated, difficult job? We don't need to add this ideal way, ideal architecture, ideal software, ideal team. Like, can we just move away from that and focus on, I don't know, more fun things like getting better, moving a little bit faster, just make it
continuous improvement. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Thank you. Continuous improving, but not by leaps and bounds necessarily. Just we try, and that's good. Enough.
I love it. I wanted to add in that one of my favorite sayings in the workplace is, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. And I would love to give the credit to the person whose quote that comes from, but I can't remember it. It's quite old, but it's one of my favorites. I've lived, in computer games, the artists are always trying to make things pixel perfect, and therefore crashing into the amount of test time I had and everything like that. And it absolutely incensed me. And I love nowadays, in so many of the teams I've worked with, they've gone, okay, this is good enough. Let's ship it. If it breaks, hey, we'll deal with it. And I was literally in a workshop yesterday where some people were going, hey, we've got it to this point. When we ship it, it might break, but you know what? We're all good enough to fix it. We know about it, but let's put it out there. And I was like, I love that. That's so cool. And did a little happy dance inside. So yeah,
the fingers came out again.
Oh man, yeah, that's dad dancing, baby. But yeah, don't let perfection be the enemy of good.
That's a good quote. Do we have any other topic that we want to rant about? We got
can I fucking kick a little topic in there, because I can fill the last 12 minutes up. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you could. I know it.
Yeah, I could, but I won't. I have noticed a bit of a trend, especially on Twitter, but LinkedIn is really bad for it as well. And to be honest, all socials where tech people hang out are pretty bad for it. Constantly recycling the same boring, semi-edgelord topics again and again.
And again.
And it's usually stuff that I don't even give a shite about. Like, light or dark mode. I don't care. Use what you prefer and I'll use what I prefer.
Manual test automation.
Oh my God.
That's on today, I've seen.
Oh my God. Do testers need to be able to code? I don't care. If they want to, yes. If they don't, no. The thing, spaces or tabs is another one. People will tweet like spaces or tabs. And I'm like, you don't even want to know You want engagement, so tweet something of value, not some stupid question, the answer to which nobody even cares about, not even a little bit.
It's like they have this bingo bowl of all these little topics that are just bland, and then they just spin that wheel and they roll out, "Ooh, let's talk about this today."
Yeah, probably.
It's like, do you are you against sans serif fonts or not? It's just this basic stuff, and it just keeps coming back and back. It's the same with certain the thing that testing is about breaking stuff, and they'll have some stupid little meme about something not working, and then the tester being all like, or what's the one with the gun, and it just keeps coming back, and like, we don't want to break your stuff. We would prefer it to actually fucking work.
Make it work first time.
Like,
That's brilliant.
Exactly. We would prefer to be involved from the beginning to prevent it breaking. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but these things are not discussions, and I think I saw somebody react to, again, credit where credit is due, but I think it was Andre from RTC, from the Romanian testing conference, to this company that was putting out jobs for testing. And the whole description was like, do you like to wreck shit? And he went against them and was like, well, this is not actually what we do. Testing has evolved from that idea in a major way and for a long time. And he got so much shit on LinkedIn for putting that up. Yeah. The entire company pretty much went after him. This is a while back. I think it's a half year ago or something. But it's discussions like that, they don't help. And they're bland.
I do risk getting called out by my team now, because I usually, in order to announce that I'm going to be testing something, I will tell them, like, right, I'm going to be breaking the hell out of that in a minute, but it's a joke. They know it's a joke.
Well, that's the thing with cliches, right? They can also be funny. That's the
yeah.
It's
in the personal sphere of our team. I think I can get away with it.
Yes,
but
I mean,
you're just
obviously,
rolling out the same meme again, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, that's really not helping the relationship between developers and testers. We're not the enemy, really.
Exactly.
It's the teamwork in the team, and like always portraying us like the developers should really hate us because all we do is break this stuff. I mean, as you said, we'd prefer it to work from the beginning, but I mean, it's really about working as a team.
And also very sadly, when topics are not bland and some of us put ourselves out there, I think we had a great example of it this week. I don't have permission to share, so I won't mention, but like to get an honest opinion and a good discussion, and then to have a bunch of toadies pile on and make it bland again, or make it very flat, and take all the depth out of one of these discussions. Oh God, that really hurts my soul. Like that. Just finally someone's actually talking about something I care about, and then they get shut down like that by just this completely irrelevant.
All right, I want to do a quick shout out to Deborah, because she makes a really good point in the comments, and she says, I guess these topics are old to us, but new to newer people in the industry, which is very, very true. And I don't think all of these recycled topics and questions and talking points are always useless. It's the ones that are like light or dark mode, which I find unnecessarily divisive and uninteresting and snobbish.
That are unnecessarily binary and snobbish. Those are the worst.
Oh God, those are the worst.
The ones that are exclusive, and they don't actually take into account that sometimes things change. Like what was true on one day could be different in another day. Like that happens, and actually accepting and experience and context all inform these things differently. So it's fine to have these conversations again and again, but like there's a way of doing it respectfully and talking about things in a way that's accessible to people. And then we're not just dismissing you going, what the hell do you know? It's like this, or leaning on I'm experienced and therefore blah, or whatever, because I've been told things before where that absolutely doesn't happen, and I've said, well, actually where I work, that's exactly what happens, and they're like, well, I wouldn't work there. I'm like, good, you don't, but this is my reality, and therefore this is something that has to happen.
It goes back to
nobody works in Waterfall anymore. Yes, people do, because it's the way it fucking works.
Here's the way you should have built it. Well, that's not useful. And it's not useful telling me. And you cannot tell me my context. I am the god of my own workplace. I know the way things work around here.
That's it. Yeah, the way you're doing it is totally wrong. No, you just don't know the context.
You don't know the backstories, you don't know what's going on, you don't know the history of it. And at this point, what fucking IT project doesn't have history? Context, yes.
Context.
You give a talk about it, Chris, recently.
I'll think about doing it in about a month ago.
Oh, well done. Yeah.
All right.
So
I think we should probably start wrapping up, should we?
should we start wrapping up? Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I'll leave the last one, then I'll shut up about it for now.
I mean,
Come on,
if
we
you-
got
if we
time.
can-
We got time.
Yeah, 2-3
Keep
minutes.
it short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The freaking mess that is hybrid working. How like I had a workshop today with 16 people, 8 of which showed up online unexpectedly.
Okay.
It's like, I mean, I managed, but I had half the group in the room and I had half the group virtually. It's like, how do we not have these conversations with people? Like, look, if it is a workshop, we expect you to be there. Or if we do dailies, you can call in. But for like the
But
sprint review,
how did they call in? Like, because clearly there was a
there
Teams
was
link
one
or something there.
person who needed to dial in, so I had
Oh,
no! I'm the dummy too in this situation, and I prepared well, so I could very easily make it hybrid. But like, how are we not having these discussions within our teams? Like, what do we want to agree on as a way of working? Can people dial in? Do we then all grab our laptops if one person's at home so that we are all in this same setting? Let's talk about these things before we just end up completely mucking up our entire week. Like meetings
Before some of us grab on a train for several hours to be in person, only to then have a
Oh,
Zoom
man.
meeting all day.
Yeah, because that happened too recently.
I was sad.
I know. Like you struggle your way through traffic or through trains or train personnel that's on strike, and then you end up at an office in a Zoom meeting because somebody else decided they couldn't be bothered. It's like, oh. And the teams that do this well do so much better on all other fronts as well. Like that's just basic communication. Here's the things that we agree on. We're in the office on Mondays.
Do you know how to do this well?
Just having that discussion up front and sort of talking about, as this group, we agree X, Y, and Z.
I think this should
Like
be
a charter
I think this
or
should be a
something.
conference talk.
Yeah, this should be a charter.
Hey, isn't there something about social activity and social development or software development going on maybe next June? Or maybe Christopher might be able to tell us more about those things. I'm not sure.
Is that credit where credit's due?
And on that note, I think we should wrap up because I think, Hannah, we've got to announce the whole summer schedule, right?
Well,
What
we do
summer
actually.
schedule?
Yeah, exactly.
We're taking a break over summer, guys. I mean, you can still reach out to us. We're happy to rant whenever in person, and we'll go through how you can contact us. Of course, we do have
if I can hijack this a little bit, I'm going to be in the UK for like 3 weeks from early July to late July, which I realize is vague. I'm going to be at Agile on the beach in Falmouth and then touring my way up to the north. So if anybody wants to rant in real life, hit me up.
Yeah, good call.
Wow.
But we are taking a break as 9 out of
Yes.
10 testers, and we're back in.
I don't think we have the. Do we have the date? I don't have it easily available to you.
We're back in September, and of course we're going to announce it on all of our socials, which is on Twitter at 9 out of 10 testers, and I'm going to just keep nervously talking when I look at that date.
It's creating a better space for testers in teams.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah.
Yes, and I mean, you can find us on Twitter and LinkedIn, and let's go over each person as well, where we can find them. Let's start with Biele.
You can find me on Twitter at Witch of the Test, and also on LinkedIn on my normal name, Peeves.
Excellent. Sanne?
I'm at Simply Sanne, or you can reach me at sanne.visser@gmail.com. Also, the next one is on the 27th of September, and that is indeed how to create a better experience for testers.
Excellent. Chris?
I'm at Christovskia on Twitter and on LinkedIn. Yes, it's a terrible name, but it's mine, damn it. And we're also on the Discord 9 out of 10 testers within the Tester Hangout Discord. Contact us if you want to get in on that action too.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Sebastian got in front of us there on the Discord.
Good reminding us.
Yeah, legend.
I mean, you can also probably find some of us on the Testers Hangout on the Google Meet every now and again as well, if you want to rant
Yeah.
as well.
We do this a lot.
we do rant a lot. It's what we do. Right, Shay,
So
how can we find you?
I'm at Shay Mouse on just about all of the social networks, just because I love being on all the social networks and on Discord and on the Tester Hangout every now and then. And yeah, just come and find me on LinkedIn. I love to chat about and rant about things. So yeah, come and say hi.
Excellent. And you can find me, just search for Hannes Lander on LinkedIn or on Twitter, but don't expect too much of a response because I'm not super active there. Or in the Testers Hangout or any Slack channel, probably I'm a member of everything. I've got a problem.
We'll talk about that next time.
Yes, we could do that for sure. Excellent. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. And,
yes, we love you. Thank you.
And thank you so much for the active chat. We love it. Absolutely love it. We're going to take like an hour or two to read through all of that later on as well. But thank you so much.
Yes.
Have
Thanks
a
so
lovely
much.
summer, everyone.
Bye,
Have a lovely
folks.
summer. Bye. See you later.
Bye.
The tension is killing me.